96 MCFB Live Thursday night. In search of awesome, very special guest, my friends. We're calling it Answering the Call-In when he tells your story, Mr. J. Kissel of Elements of Style, Summit Salon, Hair Salon and Day Spa, Elderberg, Maryland. First of all, we want to just give him some love. We need you to send us lots of love tonight, and I know he's got a lot of his fans watching him because he's been a pure artist for many, many moons. Now, I'm going to bring him in to tell his story, but first of all, I want to just give you a little bit of a taste and appreciation for his track record, because it's nothing short of phenomenal. He's going to tell his story, so I'm not going to get too much into it now. 30 years old, level 4A, and a shareholder in just a knock-em-out Summit Salon, graduates high school '06, hair school '08, works at Salon Wow in Evansville, moves to Baltimore, hooks up with Elements, level 1 to level 4 in 3 years. He relocates to NYC for a little while, comes back, returns, and the rest is history. And he'll fill in the blanks for you, but his incline has been nothing short of, I'm just calling it, to the 10th power. He just cracked the infamous six-figure barrier, 100,000 plus W-2. That's working 4 days a week, L1 to L4 inside of a 36-month window. 30 guests a week, average ticket 120, haircuts 56. I mean, you do the arithmetic on that, that's over twice. So he's a Bali Lama, big time. Referral Rainmaker at 100 plus, rebooking 75%, RTS 20%, which means he teaches his guests how to not only recreate the experience, but how to support what he creates. He's a social media master. As you're going to see, iPhone 7 Plus Max storage, you'll see why. His Instagram page is nothing short of freaking phenomenal, 1,400 followers. But the biggie, and this is the biggie, is 90% of his guests follow him, and you'll see why as he shares some of his best practices. He's posting about 3 times a week. Takes about 8 photo shoots, because photo shoots are now part of his guest experience. And does IG stories, which is now kind of a newer feature that's coming at us, and he does that very, very well. So there you go on his on his stats. Now I'm going to bring him in, and we're going to be talking about what his life was like, what happened, what his life is now, and then he's going to share some best practices. So are you ready for me to bring in Jake? If you are, you just got to give him some. Let me just bring him up on Prague, and here we go. Stop. And there he is. Give it up for him one more time, will you guys? Hi, Mr. Jake. Can you go ahead and unmute?
There we go.
There we go. Good to have you. Did you hear me bragging on you?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot of friends watching tonight. Well, listen, I want to get right down to it, and because I know you're bringing a lot of wisdom to the show this evening. In a nutshell, tell us a little bit about what your life was like before you get into the hair business, and what inspired you to go to hair school.
So yeah, I took a gap year between high school. I knew college wasn't the path for me. I have an art background. I needed something creative and fulfilling. My great mentor and neighbor, actually, Robin, she opened a tea spa and just begged the question, what are you going to do with your life? What's going on? You got to decide something. And I just fell in love with the idea of doing hair and signed right up. So that's where it all kind of started.
Yeah, and I Robin and I go back many, many moons. She's just an extraordinary businesswoman and just a great leader. So she was a big influence in you going on to beauty school rather than pursuing college. So God bless Robin, huh?
Yes.
And so you then from there you go to you pivot from there to begin your career as a hairdresser. In the first couple of years after graduating, you worked locally in Evansville.
Correct. Yeah, I worked for her at her salon, Salon Wow in Evansville, and I think I left there at a level 3, so I definitely grew pretty quickly and just needed something more and moved to the East Coast thereafter.
And then I think, didn't you started really into the whole Redken education thing, going to exchange, you start meeting some of your peers, and that's how you got to know the people at Elements.
Correct. Yeah. Small story short, they misspelled my last name wrong, which happens all the time. So I wanted that mailed to my new address in Baltimore. I was already moving there, and I met a couple of the hairdressers they're still here with me, and great teammates, and it's awesome to be a part of a awesome community education.
So now you're at Elements, and you're doing well, but you're growing. What are some things that made the difference for you when you were there? That, like, because I think you told me you were like 3-4 levels inside of a 3-year window. What drove that?
So what drove that is consistency every day. I didn't know anybody around where I lived, let alone around my salon. So I knew I had to build quick, and I just set a goal, 1 client a day, and that client I asked for referrals and gave them the wow experience, and the next month was two guests a day, and kind of built from there. So consistency was always the root of growth for me.
And so you do I think it was 3 years or so at Elements, and then you got kind of inspired to go to NYC for a little while.
Yeah, so I kind of I always have that, every 3 years I have a little bit of an itch to do something kind of wild. So I wanted to move to New York and worked at a Pureology kind of based salon. And it was awesome experience. I got to work with a lot of industry greats and leaders up there, being close to the exchange and having opportunities there. And kind of just in the back of my mind knew I had something great back here at Elements of Style, and the growth opportunity being within a Summit salon and becoming a shareholder. So that's been my dream and goal since learning about shareholdership from T-Spa, going to school there. So
I didn't have, Jake, when you and I chatting, you just dropped something on me I didn't have, and I went, oh my God. So you were called to NYC, worked in a Pureology salon, and really it sounds like it was just more continued ed for you, and you do your time there, and then the calling, the homecoming, you go back to Elements, and as I've gotten to know you, it sounds like something happened to you so that when you went back to Elements, you seemed like, I'm clear now. I'm focused. I'm going to take advantage of all this potential, and that's, I think, why the last couple of years have been absolutely phenomenal for you.
Yeah, correct. I think this is true with everyone. You don't realize how great you have it until you come back. So when you leave, you're kind of comparing, where you're at, and then where did I come from? And wait, I knew it was great, but it was amazing. And just came back and kicked butt.
Yeah, it's almost like absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? Now,
Sure.
Now, since you've been back, you also said a part of what you have this daily practice where before you begin the day, you engage in something, and then at the back end of the day, you engage in something, and that kind of is what propels you. Tell the viewers what that is, because I thought it was extraordinary.
So I have a 40-minute drive to and from work, so I got to fill that time some way. So what I did was have a moment to myself to reflect on, okay, what am I going to do today? How am I going to show up to work? Am I going to be energetic? And then that just sets the day up for success. And, when you go into work with a smile and energy, it powers you through. You basically create your best day ever over and over and over again, and with your great attitude. So on the way home, I find out what worked, what didn't work. It's not always perfect, and you just consult with yourself. so you don't make the same mistakes, basically.
I mean, I love that, and I know from the all of the training and education we get from the various brands at PPD, that's, you know, you're debriefing the day on the back end, and on the front end, it's like being, you know, making sure the mindset is right, and that your heart and soul is grounded, and I get that piece. I mean, it is really, really important, and too many hairdressers don't take advantage of that part.
Yeah, I find so true, because whatever's going on in your life can make a huge impact on your creativity and how you deal with people and talk to people. So just making sure you're set up for success and in the right mindset when you walk into the door. You know, leaving your emotions in a drawer and handle it on your way out.
Yeah, yeah. And now, you know, at 30, on the front end of 30, I mean, you got a lot more career in store for you. What's next for Jake? Where do you go from here?
So I continue to grow with education, being a purology artist. I also continue to grow other hairdressers in my salon here. So I'm an educational director for our associates, how we grow our company. A co-owner for our salon, so I'm a huge, I have a huge portion of kind of a workload here, but I love growing our company and seeing where it takes us, and yeah, just continue to grow. So there's so many different avenues that are just growing. So.
All right, so now you're, you know, at 30, front end of 30, you're in places that, frankly, a lot of people don't get to after a 30-year career. And not, you know, a handful of years ago, you're on the front end of Robin's school. And
Yeah.
But as we talk tonight, there's a lot of people that are on the front end of, you know, the school, and they're there. I got my first few days, and I'm not sure. Did I even make the right choice? Did I make a mistake? Knowing what you know now, what might you tell them to keep them in the game, to raise the probability that sooner rather than later they're looking back like you are and saying, you know what, it's been a good ride?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my biggest thing is always, I guess, early on was don't worry about what others think. There's a lot of people that want to tell you in life what to do with your future. So go to school, go to the hair school, be open, be a sponge, because there's a lot of life lessons, not only hair lessons, but life lessons built into our career, which is so awesome. And there's so many avenues of different careers you can take within the hair industry. You know, you don't have to just do hair for the rest of your life. There's growth opportunity, and it starts at the school. So just kind of just start there, and the rest is kind of the world is your oyster.
I love it. Well, I've got about 5 minutes with you, so I want to tap your genius on how you're making social media work for you. For starters, the first point I want you to talk a little bit about is, in your opinion, why social media matters to Jake and why it should matter to more hairdressers.
So why it matters to me is I'm able to reach and connect with so many of my consumers and future consumers, or customers, I should say, or guests in our salon. So I'm not just having fun, it's sort of with a purpose. So they're connecting with me even though they're not in my chair. And that is huge. They want something to inspire them and, you know, something to look forward to next time they're in my chair.
Yeah, and when you and I were chatting, I mean, what my takeaway on that part was is that, you know, social media now is the newest first touch point. You know, a touch point, you know, 24 months ago was I'm greeting my guest in the front room. And now that touching is happening online on social, and you're taking advantage of that. The other thing that you said to me, because you're doing so much of it, is I think you used the word, my guests eat it up. They eat up the experience, and they're coming in now expecting it. Talk just a little bit about that.
Right. So it's taking the their guest experience to the next level. So even if they're not photo shoot ready or whatnot, you don't have to take a picture of their face so much, but they love having that moment with me, getting their picture taken, a before moment. Like, this is going to be a wow experience. We're already setting up the experience of, wow, you're really going to notice this change, and it's going to just amplify your beauty. So taking the before picture, taking time to take the after picture. I know a lot of times we get so busy, I know I do, and it's just maybe find a teammate to help you out and complete the whole look, because our salon works as a team. So if one person can take the picture, someone else will, and we all do great photo work.
That your associate now is a very big part of he or she supports you on the social media piece. So I think when you and I were chatting the other day, it was you guys were that there's a lot of times that you're training them to assist you on the social media photography so you don't run behind.
Exactly, and we put that in our training program as the associate program. So that's one of the first things that they learn or start to learn how to do is take exquisite pictures that look good and can help make our Instagram stories look good and Facebook look good. So yeah, she's a huge part in helping me with that.
Well, a lot of people that are getting into social are looking for scripts, verbiage, sound bites. And as I was interviewing you before the show, you got this real cool sound bite. It's after you meet them and greet them, and somewhere in the signature consultation, you say something that kind of sets the conversation for photography. Do you remember what that was? And if so, can you say just a little bit about it?
Yeah, so it can kind of go like this. It's just like we talk about the color, and so since today we're doing this beautiful ombre, you know what would be really cool is if we can take some before pictures. We have a photo shoot room. We have like a separate area where we do that. If you're open to that, and we can get started. So
I love it. And you literally,
yeah,
so that's part of the
into the asking them permission really too.
Right. But when the idea that you would say that, and then there's an escort, there's this area that you're doing both the before and after, is as much a part of the experience as anything else. And I really want to make sure that the viewer gets that. Now, there's something else that you do after the photo shoot. There's another sound bite that you use that kind of gets permission to post. And sometimes your guest will say something to you, and I don't want to give it away, but it's kind of cool. And what is that?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you for a minute. Can you repeat that?
Well, yeah. At the after the picture is taken, your guest is so blown away that they'll say, "I can't believe that this is."